Now we'll be moving on to another topic that I think is very sensitive. Yes, quite sensitive. I'm very happy that we still have Mrs. Badijo in the house. Because we'll be talking about caesarean section. Now moving on, most women pray for natural birth with zero complications. But since life is never a bed of roses, women find themselves in dicey, life-threatening situations during delivery, with their last hope being a caesarean section. And this was the case of the daughter-in-law to the Kaduna State Governor Halima Bashir El-Rufai, who reacted on social media after being bashed for not giving birth on her own, this is in quote, because she underwent a C-section. Here's the post. Make of this stereotype, because there is a popular opinion that women who give birth through C-sections don't know anything about childbearing. What do you guys think?
Lack of exposure. People that say that have lack of exposure, actually. Like, they're not grounded. Because someone who is exposed will know that, I mean, there are some cases where your body actually needs that. You cannot go through the normal process, right? And that brings me to this research I actually browsed about. And then it said across Nigeria, 58,000 women die in childbirth every year, giving the country the world's 5th highest maternal mortality rate, right?
Thank you.
Now, part of the problem is the country's low cesarean rate, right? Just 2%.
Wow.
Then the global rate is 21%. Meanwhile, there's just one doctor for every 6,000 people in the country.
Wow.
Okay, now speaking about
midwife, medical practitioner.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
well, coming that additional information there only brought to light the fact that our medical, system in Nigeria is not that strong. Anyways,
Yes.
But coming back to that stereotype that comes with it, I feel like, I'm sorry to say, religion is part of the problem with this.
I agree.
A lot of people will say, I used to hear this, like, they'll say, in Jesus' name, you give back like Hebrew women. Are you and someone was telling me about the story, like, that story doesn't even correlate now that they're using to say it's them. So I feel like people should be enlightened enough to know that if the doctor says, Auntie, do this, do it. There's no need for stereotype. Those things are just...
your pastor.
Sometimes.
I said your pastor is a doctor.
Sometimes.
Oh well.
Okay, well, I think we should put this into perspective. We should not misconstrue Mary. Now, this is not. It's not that being religious, praying during pregnancy and everything is wrong.
It's not bad at all.
It's a personal experience. My auntie came all the way from Abuja to a church here in Ikotun. I don't know if you know the church, a big church. I'm not going to mention the name. And came, bought holy water, was praying. They only told her that, you see, you'll not be able to have this child normally. You'd need a cesarean. And she was binding and casting it. I know that after having 3 children normally, it's a pain for you to go through a C-section. But you don't have to. In fact, coming all the way here is stress on yourself and the baby. So it's not even healthy for you to do that. And even if, as much as you don't want to have a C-section, if that is what your body needs now, you have to understand and pray for the will of God. You understand? Let's not over push the religious thing to a dangerous...
Well, I'm sorry. What I actually said, I am not apologetic about what I said, actually. Because a lot of people are ignorant about it. Yeah. Now, there's a place of logic and there's a place of religion. And there's a place of having to know God personally. Yeah. If you listen to God personally, you know if he wants you to do a CS or actually give birth naturally.
Okay, so let me say something about this. First of all, I'd like to just start off by saying that children are a gift from God. Yeah. There's absolutely nothing wrong, in bringing them to the world and feeling the need to involve God and say, do I want it to come natural? The whole thing about giving birth like Hebrew women, I don't see anything wrong with, someone desiring that, because I think it has to do with, easy delivery that doesn't come with complications. Because let's not take away the fact that whether it's a cesarean section that was done or whether it's the natural way of, giving birth, some people their childbearing comes with serious complications that sometimes leads to the loss of the child, the loss of the mother, or both. So when people are desiring to give birth like Hebrew women, I think part of the story of desiring to give birth like Hebrew women had to do with, them not even needing to involve midwives.
For too long sex.
Some easy birth, and we know the childbirth comes with its own form of pain that sometimes is very intense.
It's the way you are saying sometimes. It's always intense with it.
Well,
it's always.
But some people, it's not always. I'm sorry, I'm going to say that. It's not always. Some women have given birth to 5 children already. So let's say, for example, the 6th one, the 7th one, the 8th one comes easy. Have you not heard of people that gave birth? They were just on the way coming back in a public transport, and
does not mean she did not feel pain.
I'm saying sometimes, not all the times.
I'm
does
so
it
glad
come with
Mrs.
intense
Badejo
pain?
is here because I really need to know.
I feel for the first child intense pain, but I think it starts to diminish
to get easier
with more childbirth. With more childbirth.
Yeah, and I want to still talk about that religious like said. A lot of people actually just copy others and think it's God that said it, or because pastor said this, it has to be like that. Yes, pastor is a representative from God. Sometimes they're human too. Sometimes they talk out of emotions as well. So I feel like you should know God for yourself. You would definitely know what to do.
So I just wanted to point out that some of the people that are praying and saying, I don't want to have my child through cesarean section, most of them are not necessarily dreading the knife. Some of them know that the reason why cesarean section was recommended in the first place must have to do with the conditions of the baby, the conditions of the mother's health, and that's why most of the time you see them praying, they are praying for those abnormalities to regularize, exactly, to be corrected. So it's not about the process of childbirth that is more scary, but it's about the anomalies that around the childbearing that they want to be corrected.
You're correct, but I'm going to add this very briefly. For the doctor to recommend the CS, that is for people who do not actually opt for it by themselves, because there are people that actually opt for it because they know better, right? And for the doctor to recommend, that means something is wrong. That is why we find that people who go ahead to say, God will do it. I'm not saying don't have faith. Please have faith. But they say faith without works is dead.
Yes.
Right? And part of the aspect of having faith is being that you're believing God to be able to sustain you for whichever decision you choose to make. God is not going to come down from heaven and spread your leg and say, you'd be like, okay, bring it out. Yeah, it is still God who gave the medical doctors the wisdom, to initiate CS and the rest. So I think at the end of the day, what I'm going to say is, ignorance is playing a major role. So pick up a book, read. Your village people are not pursuing you if the doctor says, madam,
you're going to have a CS. That's the thing.
I think that's all I'm saying.
Okay. So, Mrs. Badejo, before you answer, I'm going to just throw this in finally, because Maggie just mentioned the question, okay, what if it is of your own volition? And then, is the kind of pain you are feeling as a woman when it comes to childbearing an indicator of true womanhood? Say you have pains when you have a cesarean section, and then there's pains that come from natural birth. Now, is the type of pain you are feeling an indicator that you're a real woman? Especially when we're talking about this incident of this woman being called out on social media for not having a natural birth.
By herself, that's what they say.
It's as if, and then there are 2 words that they used. There are 2 sentences made in house. I say, you don't know the troubles of giving birth because you had CS. And number 2, means you did not give birth on your own. So these 2 problematic statements are what I want you to just.
Everybody must suffer because they like suffer.
Okay. First of all, giving birth is the final stage of carrying a pregnancy. When you get pregnant, when you fall pregnant, as the baby grows, you gain weight. Your tastes change. So many things change about you. There were times I remember when I was pregnant, I would just be walking on the road and all of a sudden the baby's foot will just hook my hip.
That must hurt.
And I'll just be there for a few seconds. Okay, baby, take your time. I can't move because it's painful. Now, that You want to tell me somebody that went through that did not experience pain of childbirth? And then another thing is, like Gabby said, there could be situations that can be life-threatening. The baby can be very big. You're not able to, even for childbirth. When I had my first baby, I had a tear in my private. They had to suture me.
Because she was too big.
It wasn't even that. She was small. Wow. But they had to suture, and the pain that came with that.
That sounds painful.
Trying to heal. And then actually the positives of the C-section. One, it reduces the risk of incontinence. That means for some, they may not be able to hold their urinary tract when they give birth naturally.
Wow.
Yes, it can come to that.
Wow.
There may be complications that can trigger that. And then the baby, it reduces the risk of the baby going through trauma, because some people, after being in labor for some time, they are trying to push, baby is not coming out, baby lacks oxygen.
Wow.
And then before you know it, they say stillborn. God forbid.
Yeah.
Or they say Down syndrome, because the baby did not have enough oxygen. That may not, it may not be, but a lack of oxygen to the brain is very dangerous. It can be very devastating. So it doesn't matter how you give birth. The fact that you carry that pregnancy full term, I say kudos to you.
Beyond the pain of motherhood.
I say kudos. You have encountered it.
You have been there.
You have scored.
You've done that.
You've
scored.
I don't think the pain of motherhood or responsibility ends at childbirth.
I think it begins
at the beginning. It's just
it's
beginning.
actually wrong to say you've not experienced
That's why
it.
it's ignorance.
It's just starting the journey.
Generally, we should not associate pain with child because there's surrogacy and the rest. It's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
So
And
the
even
true test of parenthood.
Sorry, Tiny. There are some instances where you can ask for an epidural. When you want to give birth, you can say, "See, I don't want to go through labor pains.
Yes.
Just give me a shot." And then while the baby comes, you won't even know the baby is coming, because the labor pain, the more intense it gets, the more it's an indicator that the baby is nearer. They say your 2 centimeters gone. They begin to check you. Your 6 centimeters gone. They begin to check you. Your 8 centimeters. When you're 8, that means the baby is close. So when you opt for an epidural, you don't feel all those. You don't feel all those pains. So it's the doctors that come to check that say, "Oh, okay, baby is coming now."
So why do people now still not opt for the epidural and insist to go through the pain? I want to make sense of it.
Well, this is one for instance.
Oh wow!
This is one for
Wow, they want to feel the pain to
feel
know
the
that
pain.
That they have truly arrived.
Amen.
Oh, this is so interesting, and I'm so glad to have Mrs. Badijo just to wrap everything for us here on
Or giving me too much credit time.
Personally, I want to say thank you. I learned quite a lot today.
And I think Maggie picked something up from here, because she was saying she would have a C-section, but I mean, now she has learned epidural.
I knew I was meant to do epidural. I just, why do people opt for pain? If they can have epidural. I mean, I'm still going to do this C-section.
Oh, okay, cool. So, and after this break, we'll come back for the most fun part of my 2 cents as the show. Stick around, don't go anywhere. Yo, welcome back. This is my 2 cents. We've been talking about a lot of topical issues. We had Mrs. Badijo here to really give us insight on some of these topics, and we've been having quite an amazing time. Now, drum rolls for the rapid fire. Okay, so today's rapid fire goes like this. Giving the chance, would you live with your parents until marriage? So who wants to go first?
No, me.
Okay, Gabby.
Okay,
I said no.
Okay, so for me, I think there should be like, even if it's just 1 year, 2 years of living independently. Yes, so no.
Before marriage.
Yes.
Okay.
No, also.
So no.
For a short time.
Even giving the chance and the economic situation, I said no.
No, mommy, I love you. No.
Well, just for the single reason that I don't want anybody's son to wake up and tell me I will send you back to your father's house. No. Because now he knows if you ask me to leave, I am going back where I was.
He's
And
looking
it's
for-
not my father's house. Thank you.
Okay, so personally, I would say that in this condition, the conversation. See, house rent in Lagos is expensive.
We know.
Say something.
The honest truth is, if I had the chance, I would stay until I'm getting close, until I know that okay, I'm ready to settle down very soon. So I would like to gain the experience of living alone by myself, and also I'm not having to have regulations of my parents. So this is quote or be if I had a house or a family house where I currently am. Yes, I would live with my parents. I would live with my parents, thrive, achieve everything, and then maybe when I'm very close, I will just move out and experience. I think it's very similar to what Gabby
Okay, so
said.
what's the answer now?
Yes, I would though. I would. So, Mrs. Badijo, please tell us. Been there, done that?
I did.
You did?
I stayed in my parents' house till I got married.
Well, how was it?
Well, it was, how do I put it now?
Did it expedite the marriage process? I think that's the question she's trying to ask. Did it rush the process? Or immediately like, I don't want to
really want to get out of here.
Why is there? People don't want to go and sing.
Well. It didn't. Did it change anything? Probably because I think it did. It did. The way they related with me, the way I had more freedom, because they knew that she's engaged, getting ready to get to marry, and the restrictions for my younger sister were relaxed for me. So.
Okay. Because her parents are cool. If you have parents,
I have a lot of questions to ask, but let's be going.
Oh my goodness, I had an amazing time, guys.
Yes,
Did
I
you?
did.
Yeah.
I
Thank you
had fun.
so much.
I learned a lot.
I did too. That is a strong one for me. Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thank
and
you
so
for having
make sure to follow AETV Live on all our social media platforms. We're on YouTube. Make sure that you are subscribed. Visit our website. Download the app from the iOS or Google Play Store. Until we come your way next time. My name is Success Canvas, aka Tiny Bliss.
My name is Gabrielle. My name is Mary Emmanuel.
My name is Magdalene Tuku, of course, call me Maggie.
And this is Mrs. Bumi and Oye Badijo.